looks, smells, and tastes like the butter we're all familiar with, but without the farmland, fertilizers, or emissions tied to that typical process. And this butter breakthrough, it's happening right here in Batavia.
Food came from a land. Farmers planted seeds. Animals produced milk. Crops fed civilizations. But today, scientists are learning how to create food without farms, without animals, and sometimes without plants. The question is, who will control the food of the future? But something even stranger is happening to our food system. Recently, a startup called Savor, backed by billionaire investor Bill Gates, announced something unusual. They have created butter without cows, without milk, and without plants.
Looks, smells, and tastes like the butter we're all familiar with, but without the farmland, fertilizers, or emissions tied to that typical process. And this butter breakthrough, it's happening right here in Batavia.
In the middle of an industrial park in a suburb west of Chicago, something unprecedented is happening.
So you're using this gas right now to cook your food. And we're proposing that we would like to first make your food with that gas.
The company is called Savor, and you better believe it. Their pioneering tech uses carbon and hydrogen to make the stick of butter you see on this plate.
This is pretty novel to be able to make food that looks and tastes and feels exactly like dairy butter, but with no agriculture whatsoever.
And no long ingredient list the average person can't pronounce.
It's really just our fat, some water, a little bit of lecithin as an emulsifier, and some natural flavor and color.
Their goal is to manufacture many common foods this way, including dairy fats, oils, and even meat alternatives.
Food came from the land. Farmers planted crops. Animals produced milk and meat. Communities depended on local agriculture for survival. But today, the center of food production is slowly shifting. From farms to laboratories and industrial facilities, companies are investing billions into lab-grown meat, synthetic dairy, and engineered food products. The argument is that these foods are more sustainable and efficient. In fact, some scientists are already experimenting with producing food directly from the air. Using carbon dioxide, hydrogen, and microbes, laboratories can create proteins without soil, farms, or animals. At the same time, the global food system is becoming increasingly centralized. Large corporations are gaining control over seeds, agricultural technology, food processing, and global distribution networks. Small farmers, once the backbone of agriculture, are gradually losing independence. Local produce disappears from markets, and the power to decide what food is produced and how it is distributed shifts toward large companies. When food systems become centralized, societies become dependent on those who control them. Many of these changes are introduced through environmental policies. Governments argue that agriculture must change to reduce carbon emissions and protect the planet. New regulations are introduced. Farmers may face limits on how many animals they can raise. Restrictions appear on fertilizers and water usage. Some are told certain crops can no longer be grown. In some countries, farmers are even being encouraged or pressured to shut down operations entirely. And the people who once produced food for their communities being pushed out of the system. Modern digital systems are also beginning to track how food is produced and consumed. Digital identities and payment systems make it possible to monitor purchases. Consumption patterns can be analyzed, and in some future models, certain foods could even be limited.
Can I see your digital ID to check your daily sugar limit?
I don't have a digital ID.
I'll have to call the police.
Smith, you stand charged of exceeding your daily sugar limit and failing to present your digital ID when requested. This court finds you guilty. 50 years imprisonment.
No, wait, it was just a glass of Coke. I'm sorry, please, it was just one glass.
It just said declined.
Yeah, it says you've gone over your weekly meat allowance.
My allowance? I only fancied a steak for dinner. I've not bought that much this week.
I'm afraid the system's strict. It won't let me put it through.
You're joking.
Whoever controls food controls survival. And if controlling food means controlling survival, imagine what happens when the same system begins to control the human body itself.